Surprise!
Why are you doing this?
Because she's evil.
You have the power, Alia. You can choose not to kill me.
Every time Sam Beckett leaped, he was preceded by a soft electric blue glow, a sign that God, fate, or time was on his side. But in November of 1992, that blue light was met by a jagged, blood-red flash. For 4 years, fans thought Sam was the only one putting right what once went wrong. They were wrong. Lurking in the shadows of the 5th season was a dark mirror to Project Quantum Leap. This wasn't just another guest star, it was the introduction of a satanic counterpart to Sam's mission. While Sam was guided by the heart of Ziggy, his new enemy answered to a cold, predatory supercomputer named Lothos. This is the untold story of the Evil Leaper Project, a terrifying glimpse into a world where the mission wasn't to save lives, but to ensure that history stayed broken. To understand how the show fundamentally changed, we have to look at the episode Deliver Us from Evil. It was a moment of peak nostalgia that suddenly turned into a horror movie. Sam leaps back into the body of Jimmy LaMotta, a man with Down syndrome whom Sam had already saved in a previous season. But something is wrong. In the original timeline, Jimmy was living a happy, integrated life with his family. Now he's being pushed toward a mental institution, and his family is falling apart. For the first time, Sam realizes he isn't just fighting bad luck, he is fighting a physical presence. The tension peaks during a scene in a dark hallway when Sam encounters Alia, played by Renee Coleman. In a groundbreaking visual for 1992, their auras begin to flicker and overlap. This was known as magnetic convergence. As the blue and red lights clashed, the camera revealed the true faces of the Leapers underneath their hosts. It was a shocking reveal for the audience. Sam wasn't the only one in the room with a Swiss cheese memory. Alia was there with a mission that was the exact opposite of Sam's. While Sam was trying to keep Jimmy in his home, Alia was whispering in the ears of the family, sowing seeds of discord and trying to ensure Jimmy was locked away for life. This encounter changed the physics of the show. Up until this point, Sam's biggest obstacle was usually the waiting room or a lack of data from Ziggy. Now he had a tactical opponent who could physically interfere with his work. The show used specific camera angles to emphasize Alia's presence as a predator. She didn't just walk into a room, she appeared in the background of shots, a literal shadow over the LaMotta family. By the end of this episode, the feel-good vibe of Quantum Leap was gone, replaced by the chilling reality that every victory Sam had ever achieved could be undone by a single red flash in the night. The true engine behind the Time War wasn't just the Leapers themselves, but the supercomputers guiding their every move. For Sam, there was Ziggy, a self-aware parallel hybrid computer with a distinct personality. But in the 5th season, we learned that Ziggy had a dark twin, Lothos. What makes Lothos so much more menacing than Ziggy is that throughout the entire series, we never see where it is located. We never see a cooling fan, a circuit board, or a technician. While we spent 4 years familiarizing ourselves with the brightly lit, sterile Project Quantum Leap facility in New Mexico, the evil project remained a complete ghost. The show conveyed the technological war through visual shorthand rather than showing a second facility. The most iconic contrast was the hamblink. Al Calavici carried a colorful, blinking gummy cube that looked advanced yet approachable. In contrast, the Evil Leaper's handlink was a sleek and menacing device that looked more like a piece of military hardware. This wasn't just a prop change, the Evil handlink was a weapon. In the episode Deliver Us from Evil, it was revealed that Lothos can actually jam Ziggy's signal. For the first time in the series, Al was rendered helpless, unable to see Sam or provide data because the Evil Leaper's technology was actively overriding the New Mexico transmission. This lack of a visible facility created a terrifying power imbalance for the viewers. While Sam's team operated with transparency and a clear chain of command that the audience understood, Lothos was a black box. It didn't just calculate probabilities, it seemed to hunt for the most volatile points in history to cause maximum damage. By never showing the facility or the people behind Lothos, the show made the computer feel like an omniscient, unstoppable force. It suggested that while Sam was trying to fix history with a scalpel, Lothos was a sledgehammer, operating from a hidden location that Ziggy and the audience could never find. This anonymity turned a scientific conflict into something that felt far more like a haunting. If Project Quantum Leap was a scientific endeavor funded by the government, the Evil Leaper Project felt like something pulled from a nightmare. Because the series never showed a laboratory or a team of scientists, it invited a much darker interpretation of who or what was running the show. The dialogue in the Evil Leaper trilogy intentionally blurred the lines between science fiction and theology. In the episode Return of the Evil Leaper, Zoey, the cold-blooded observer for the project, makes a chilling reference to her status, suggesting that they had to claw their way out of the pit to reach the timeline. This wasn't just technobabble, it was a deliberate nod to the idea that Lothos might be operating from a literal or figurative hell. This satanic angle was reinforced by the behavior of the Leapers themselves. While Sam was often portrayed as a white knight or guardian angel doing the work of a higher power, Alia and her successors were portrayed as being under the thumb of a punishing master. If Sam failed a leap, he simply didn't go home. If Alia failed, she was subjected to what appeared to be physical agony during the leap process. The evil hand link wasn't just for data, it was a leash. When Alia begins to show empathy for Sam, Zoey uses the technology to punish her remotely. This created a dynamic where Lothos wasn't just a computer, but a digital deity that demanded total, cruel obedience. The show's creator, Donald Bellisario, was known for weaving spiritual themes into his work, and the Evil Leapers were the ultimate expression of this. By refusing to show a physical base, the series suggested that the Time War was actually an extension of the eternal battle between good and evil. Fans noted that while Sam's blue light felt celestial and calming, the jagged red light of the Evil Leapers felt aggressive and infernal. Even the name Lothos carried a heavy ancient weight. In this framework, Sam Beckett wasn't just a scientist lost in time, he was a soldier in a spiritual conflict, fighting a project that didn't just want to change history, it wanted to claim the soul of the timeline. One of the most effective ways the show demonstrated the ruthlessness of the dark side was through its internal hierarchy. While Sam and Al were partners and equals, the Evil Leaper Project was strictly a system of master and servant. In the first encounter, Zoey, played with a chilling, cold precision by Carolyn Seymour, is merely the observer to Alia. She's the dark reflection of Al Calavici, but without the jokes or the colorful suits. She doesn't offer Sam's brand of guidance. She issues orders and threats. However, the hierarchy shifted dramatically in the episode Revenge of the Evil Leaper, when the project's internal discipline turned inward. After Alia successfully defects with Sam's help, the project doesn't just hire a new leaper, it promotes from within. Zoey is rewarded for her service by being turned into a leaper herself, forced to inhabit the bodies of others to hunt down the traitors. To replace her as the hologram handler, the show introduced Thames, played by Hinton Battle. Thames was a radical departure from Zoey's more human anger. He was flamboyant, impeccably dressed, and almost robotic in his detachment. If Zoey was the angry enforcer, Thames was the high-level executive who viewed human life as a series of numbers on a spreadsheet. This shift in the hierarchy revealed a terrifying truth about the Evil Project. No one was safe, not even the people running it. The transition of Zoey from handler to leaper was portrayed as a harrowing experience, emphasizing that in the eyes of Lothos, everyone was a disposable asset. Thames didn't just watch over Zoey, he surveilled her. He was there to ensure she didn't catch the same virus of empathy that Alia did. This created a high-tension dynamic, where the antagonist was just as trapped as the protagonist. The most significant turning point in the Evil Leaper saga wasn't a technological breakthrough, but a human one. Alia's choice to betray Lothos. In the episode Return of the Evil Leaper, we see the true cost of being an agent of chaos. Unlike Sam, who finds strength in his connection to Al and his mission, Alia is physically and mentally deteriorating. The show portrays her as a prisoner of time in a way Sam never was. She is terrified of her handler, Zoey, and haunted by the life she has destroyed. This led to an unprecedented event in the series, a leaper seeking asylum. The defection introduced a brand new mechanic to the show's lore, the Simul Leap.
To help Alia escape the reach of Lothos, Sam realizes they have to leap at the exact same moment while in physical contact. This was a high-risk gamble. If their auras didn't sync, they could be ripped apart or lost in the quantum sea. During the leap from the 1950s, the visual of their blue and red lights swirling together created a violet-hued transition, a symbolic blending of their destinies. By holding on to Sam, Alia was able to piggyback on his connection to a higher power, effectively hiding her signature from Lothos' scanners. However, this escape came with a heavy price. Alia successfully leaped away from Zoe's control, but in doing so, she became a ghost. Because she was no longer tethered to Lothos, but hadn't been fully integrated into Sam's project, she vanished into the timeline. This gave her freedom, but at the cost of her identity and any hope of returning to her own home.
The Evil Leaper trilogy reached its violent conclusion in the episode Revenge of the Evil Leaper. Set in 1987 within a women's prison, this finale underscored the ultimate ruthlessness of the project. By this point, Alia had escaped, and Zoe had been demoted from her role as an observer to a leaper. Her mission was simple: find and execute the traitors. This was a significant shift in the show's power dynamic. For the first time, Sam was facing an opponent who wasn't just working against his mission, she was actively trying to kill him. The episode is famous for its high-tension showdown in the prison. Zoe, driven by a mixture of fanatical loyalty to Lothos and a personal vendetta against Sam, cornered him during a chaotic prison break. Unlike Sam, who always sought non-lethal solutions, Zoe was armed and lethal. However, the Time War has a way of turning technology against its user. In a desperate struggle, Sam managed to use Zoe's own momentum and the vital nature of the quantum leap environment against her. Zoe was shot and killed during the confrontation, marking the first and only time we see an active leaper die on the job. What happened next was one of the most haunting visuals in the series. As Zoe died, her leap aura didn't just fade, it turned a violent flickering red before she vanished entirely. Her new handler, the cold and flamboyant Thames, looked on through his hologram interface with absolute indifference. He didn't mourn her, he simply prepared to retrieve her signature. This moment proved that in the world of Lothos, there was no retirement and no mercy. Zoe's death was the final punctuation mark on the trilogy, leaving Sam alone in the timeline, knowing that while one thread was gone, the machine that sent her was still out there, searching for its next victim. The abrupt disappearance of the Evil Leapers is one of the most debated behind-the-scenes mysteries in classic television. After the high-stakes resolution of the Evil Leaper trilogy, the concept was essentially buried. To understand why, we have to look at the precarious state of Quantum Leap in early 1993. The show was a bubble series, constantly facing the threat of cancellation by NBC. Series creator Donald Bellisario introduced the Evil Leapers as a way to re-energize the narrative and raise the stakes for a potential sixth season. However, the network executives had a very different vision. The primary conflict was tonal. NBC executives reportedly felt that the Evil Leaper arc was making the show too dark and too serialized. Quantum Leap had built its reputation as a family-friendly anthology, a show you could jump into at any week without knowing the lore. Suddenly, the writers were introducing satanic computers, multiple time travelers, and a complex time war mythology. The network feared this complexity would alienate casual viewers and hurt the show's syndication value. As a result, they pressured the production to return to the Leap of the Week format, effectively forcing the writers to abandon the Lothos storyline just as it was reaching its peak. Budgetary constraints also played a massive role. Creating these episodes was significantly more expensive than a standard leap. The magnetic convergence effects, the dual leaper aura transitions, and the salaries for recurring antagonists like Carolyn Seymour and Hinton Battle drained the show's shrinking budget. By the time the production reached the final episodes of Season 5, the focus shifted from a time war to a more philosophical ending. The legendary series finale, Mirror Image, was written under the shadow of imminent cancellation. Instead of a final showdown with Lothos, Bellisario chose a more ambiguous spiritual conclusion for Sam Beckett. The Evil Leapers weren't defeated by Sam, they were defeated by the realities of television ratings and production costs, leaving one of the greatest sci-fi concepts of the 90s as an unfinished masterpiece.
The mystery of the Evil Leaper remained dormant for nearly 30 years, until the 2022 Quantum Leap revival finally revisited the concept of a rival traveler. Enter Richard Martinez, also known as Leaper X. Played by Walter Paris, Martinez initially appeared to be the modern incarnation of Alia, a shadow leaping through time with a mission that directly conflicted with Ben's songs. His arrival was marked by a chilling technical realization. He was faster, stronger, and appeared to have a much more stable connection to his home than Ben did. However, the revival added a complex psychological layer that the original series never fully explored. Martinez wasn't a satanic agent of chaos, he was a soldier. It was revealed that he was a military operative from a future version of Project Quantum Leap, sent back with the belief that Ben Song was a traitor who would eventually destroy the project. This created a fascinating moral gray area. While Alia was forced to do evil, Martinez believed he was the hero of the story. He viewed himself as the true Leaper, tasked with protecting the timeline from Ben's unauthorized interference. The conflict culminated in a high-stakes battle across multiple time periods, mirroring the Time War themes of the 90s. In the Season 1 finale, Ben and Martinez engaged in a brutal struggle that spanned decades, proving that the technology of the leap could be used as a weapon of war just as easily as a tool for peace. While Martinez ultimately met a tragic end, his presence confirmed that the Mirror Project isn't just a relic of the past. Whether it's called Lothos or a future military black op, the idea that someone is always out there trying to put wrong what once went right remains the most terrifying element of the Quantum Leap universe. The legacy of the evil Leapers is one of the most enduring what-ifs in science fiction history. They transformed Quantum Leap from a simple anthology into a cosmic battleground, proving that for every ounce of good in the universe, there is a shadow waiting to undo it. While their story was cut short by the realities of 90s television, the Time War continues to fuel fan theories and inspire modern reboots. It serves as a reminder that the past is never truly settled and the future is always worth fighting for. Whether they were literal demons or just humans from a darker timeline, the evil Leapers remain a chilling reminder of how easily the world can be tilted toward chaos.
Oh boy.
If you enjoyed this deep dive into the darker side of television history, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We have plenty more untold stories and behind-the-scenes secrets from your favorite classic shows coming your way. What do you think was the true origin of Lothos? Let us know your wildest theories in the comments below. Thanks for watching Retro Celeb Talk, and we will see you in the next leap.